Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Frangie Show. Frank is on vacation today, but we are really excited to launch kind of a new little revamped deal here. When either Frank is gone or I'm gone, we've now got Hacker joining us, man. Welcome, and thank you so much.
Hays, I'm good, man. Glad to be here with you. Excited for the next couple of hours. And maybe, just maybe, before 6 o'clock, we'll have a little breaking news from the Miller Electric Center.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's set the scene for you. We're going to talk about that Jaguars GM search now. We'll get to some Florida basketball in the next segment. And then Pete Prisco is going to join us to talk all things NFL and Jaguars at 5 o'clock. So we've got a lot to get to. And like you mentioned, it could be any minute now. All the in-person interviews have been completed as the team is announced. So you did something really interesting yesterday. You put out a poll. Tell us about that and what it revealed.
It was a crazy poll, and it actually got upwards of 1,500 responses. And it was a simple question because I think most people believe Ian Cunningham of the Bears or James Gladstone of the Rams, who interviewed today, are the two leaders to be the next Jaguar GM. So the simple question: who do you want to be the next Jaguar general manager? And 1,500 people voted, 1,500 plus, and 76% of those 1,500 said James Gladstone, which is a drastic change from where things were probably a week and a half ago.
What do you attribute that to?
The video that came out of Gladstone in L.A., I think a lot of people picked up on that. A lot of people have picked up on the fact that Liam Cohen's from the McVay tree. He hires Anthony Campanile, who coached for Matt LaFleur, who's from the McVay tree. Same thing, Grant Udinski, who coached with Kevin O'Connell from the McVay tree. So, like Frank has been saying, and we've all been saying, you know, the L.A. presence here is very prevalent. But I do think it's just kind of a flavor of the week, right? I think Ian Cunningham was that flavor of the week, and all of a sudden then the Gladstone videos popped up. And look, James Gladstone's the director of scouting for the Rams. Rams have had some really good drafts in the last couple of years. I mean, really good. And you look at the youth movement here, he's 34. I don't care if it's Gladstone or Cunningham. I would be happy with either one. But again, until I actually see it, I'm not going to believe it. It's one of those type things.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see, you know, when this comes about. I would think it will be very soon, just because, I mean, forgetting even the deadline of you've got to hire a GM by a certain date in February, or you've got to wait until after the draft. I mean, the league announced its combine schedule today in terms of podium interviews. We know Liam Cohen's talking at 11, and it says Jaguars GM TBD at 11:30. So obviously it's it's coming soon, and whether that's today or whether that is in the next couple of minutes, we will see. But yeah, I have a strong indication that the wait is getting ready to be over. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So in terms of it, what do you like about Cunningham and what do you like about Gladstone?
Well, the thing about Cunningham, what everybody's talked about, is the Baltimore connection, the Philadelphia connection, the Howie Roseman connection. Obviously, he's gotten a lot of interviews for GM jobs in other locations. I think he's a two-time finalist in Tennessee. He's a finalist in Washington. He hasn't gotten any of the jobs yet, but has been a finalist. And as far as Gladstone, look, I'll be lying to you if I said I knew James Gladstone was 3 weeks ago. I did not have any idea. I knew Joey Gladstone from Full House, right? But I didn't know who
Yeah.
James Gladstone was. And then I saw the videos, and I put two and two together. You know, Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, and you look at all the guys they drafted in L.A. the last couple of years, plus the McVay tree, you add on all of that, and that's why I think Gladstone, I'm at 55-45 Gladstone over Cunningham right now.
Well, sir, you are correct. Because the new Jaguars GM is James Gladstone.
Wow.
I have a statement from Shad Khan. It says, "It is my honor to introduce James Gladstone as the new general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. James emerged as my choice and our choice following a painstaking but energizing interview process that left nothing to doubt. Every candidate delivered, and I am grateful to them all for their preparation and time spent with us this week in Jacksonville. In the end, we found James to be a class ahead of a class ahead and exceptional in every regard: vision, new ideas, communication, chemistry, and a keen understanding of the league and our team, to name a few of many virtues he will bring immediately to the Jaguars. It's going to be fun watching James work with our football leadership team of Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, and Tony Khan, but most of all of it will be rewarding. I am confident of that. This is also an occasion to thank Jaguars fans everywhere for their support and faith over the years. I know we can count on them warmly welcoming James to Duval while rallying behind our organization and team as we chart a new and promising path forward.
Man.
So the love letter to Sean McVay is complete with a lot of X's and O's. The Jaguars are Rams East. That's not a bad thing. That's not a criticism, but Shad Khan clearly liked what the LA Rams are doing with Sean McVay's guidance, and they have hired a McVay disciple as head coach. They have now hired a McVay and Les Snead disciple as the new general manager. What is your initial reaction to James Gladstone as GM?
Oh, boy, the Jaguars are all in on the youth movement. I mean, all in. A 39-year-old head coach, a 42-year-old defensive coordinator, a 34-year-old general manager, and a 29-year-old offensive coordinator, all four of which have some inkling in their past related to, like you said, the LA Rams and Sean McVay. To me, this kind of puts to bed the saying I've been going with for a while, that the Jaguars are going to Jaguar. This is very un-Jaguar-like. This last 6 weeks has been very un-Jaguar-like. Look, if you don't like the direction the Jaguars were going in the last 13 years, I'm not going to blame you, because they were awful in the last 13 years. That's what 64 wins and 148 losses will give you. They have done an exact 180 of the last 13 years in the last 6 weeks. Going with Liam Cohen, dismissing Trent Baalke, going with young coordinators, now going with a young GM, promoting or giving Tony Baselli the EVP of football operations. This is a drastically different team, Hays, than it has been for the last decade and a half.
Without a doubt, they've never really been cutting edge. Certainly never in Shad's tenure. You look at the hires that he has made, and it's really never been, let's go really embrace where the game is going. And, it's one of those things that this may not work, but I do commend Shad and company on saying we need to absolutely do a 180 with our approach, and we need to find the best innovative minds in this game. And that is who we need to go after. They did it with Liam Cohen, who was part of the Athletics 50 under 40, most influential people in the game, that came out earlier this week. And James Gladstone is on that list as well. And you mentioned the videos. Certainly, they're very impressive. You can tell that certainly he was a big part of what the Rams were doing. And, it's just such an unbelievable climb for James Gladstone to be 34 years old and now in this position. Just to give you what the Athletics said about James Gladstone in their profile of all these young people that made this list. It said the Rams nailed their last 2 draft classes, identifying 10 starters through that span with just 1 first-round pick. Standout players from the 2023 and 2024 classes include receiver Puka Nacua, outside linebackers Byron Young and Jared Verse, defensive lineman Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk, and guard Steve Oliva. Turner was a finalist for Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2023, while Verse won it in 24. Gladstone oversaw the strategic overhaul of the Rams draft processes after 2022 and has since led their modern and complex methods. He is a finalist for the Jaguars GM vacancy, with those in-person interviews scheduled Wednesday. And, of course, now he is the Jaguars GM. But, yeah, GM at 34, head coach at 39. I complained about stagnation with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. And certainly Trent Baalke. And now I think you can embark upon having a very clear identity as you build this of where you want the Jaguars to be. And I think innovative, creative, cutting edge are all phrases that the Jaguars are now racing after to acquire. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'd be shocked if this isn't met with incredible excitement to echo the poll that you had yesterday. Or that, I mean, I would have been shocked by those results. I would have thought it would have been somewhere around 50-50. So I would imagine this is a day of celebration for Jaguars fans.
No, I think it is. The reaction's coming in very hot on social media, a lot of positivity. And look, not that this matters necessarily. They knew it was James Gladstone before that interview today, right? That interview ended 2 hours ago. Okay, so so they got Baselli walking him out of the building. I'll tell you something hilarious. And I saw this, and again, I don't know if it means anything. Probably not, but I'll throw it out there. There were a lot of people making jokes on social media that all the other pictures that were taken of Baselli and the potential GM candidates, it looked like Baselli was escorting them out of the building. Whereas the Gladstone one, if you know that building, it looks like he's walking into the building, like he's not leaving. Did the Jaguars plan an Easter egg with those 5 pictures? I don't think so. That's a funny thing to at least throw out there.
Well, it makes sense because once he's in the building,
he's not leaving.
He may not leave that building. I mean, other than to go to Indianapolis. But the next time James Gladstone has a personal moment to do something he wants to do might be in July.
Yeah.
Because they've got so much work ahead of them. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I think the sleuths out there were certainly onto something.
Well, when I was of the opinion, and I didn't know this, I would have thought Ethan Wall would have been the final interview because he was the in-house candidate. He didn't have to travel in. And when Ethan Wall was the interview last night and Gladstone was by himself today, that kind of sent up my flag a little bit, saying, all right, if they're going to fly a guy in from L.A., he's obviously not flying back until they let him know one way or the other. You're not going to keep flying him across the country. He's the last interview. The interview ended, according to their social media, 2 hours ago, and he's hired as the GM. I'm of the opinion they knew James Gladstone was going to be the GM now for at least the last couple of days.
Yeah, and I'll be very interested in seeing once James talks. He'll probably talk locally, I would expect Monday, because the team isn't, I wouldn't think, they're not going to want his first media appearance to be in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
They're going to want to, because not every media entity here is going to travel to the Combine. We'll be there, but not everybody will. And so you want to make him available for all the local media. So, whether it's a Monday press conference is what I would expect. And then obviously we know at 11:30 on Tuesday, he's going to address, the reporters that decide to come around him at the podium. But it will really be interesting to learn more about his relationship with Liam Cohen, because we've talked about the importance of alignment and really how Trent Baalke made that kind of an impossibility. And because it was clear that, Doug and Trent, I think, tried to keep up a good public perception, but I don't think they were particularly close, and they definitely weren't towards the end. And so to now, not only are these guys in alignment because they're now coming in first year each, and they've got an opportunity to really build something special together, and they're on the same time frame. But it'll be cool to find out just how close James and Liam are.
And it's a complete reset. It's the first complete reset head coach, general manager since 2013. In 2013, it was Gus Bradley and Dave Caldwell. And truthfully, at that time, there was excitement, but Gus Bradley was a defensive guy, right? And that's the point I've made on Hacker After Dark a lot, Hays, in the last couple of weeks. You have to go back to Coughlin before the last time an under 50-year-old head coach here for the Jaguars was an offensive mind, right? Liam Cohen obviously is 39 years of age. Jack Del Rio and Gus Bradley were young defensive minds, and nothing against Mike Mularkey and Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson, but obviously they were not young offensive minds. Maybe some of the Doug Marrone as well. Maybe the game had kind of passed them by a little bit. I think it did pass Doug by, certainly, in the last 18 months. That's what 5 and 18 will do for you in your last 23. But now you have a young offensive mind. Pair that with a 29-year-old whiz kid who everybody raved about in Minnesota, and Grant Udinski. You got Anthony Campanile, who I think is – I'm trying not to get too high on the D coordinator after last year.
We're all
because I
trying to contain it.
I drank the Ryan Nielsen Kool-Aid and I fell on my face, so I'm trying to temper it a little bit. But Campanile just seems like a cool guy I want to go have a beer with and just talk ball. And now you hire this 34-year-old who all indications out in L.A. they loved. I've talked to a lot of my L.A. Rams media guys. I'm hoping to have one on. I'm trying to get in touch with him now for the show tonight. They just love this guy. And that's the clear indication to me is the coordinators, the coach, and now the GM, where they were before now, people are sad to see them go, which I think is a good thing.
Without a doubt. Again, we've got to get to a break, but when we come back on the Frangie Show, we are going to obviously get all into this. Again, breaking news, James Gladstone, the new Jaguars general manager. So now we have every massive hire filled. The Jaguars are off and running as they go to Indianapolis next week for the Combine. You are listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now look, as they begin 2025, Nimnick is so excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. And if you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnick. So here's to another year of driving forward together. And don't forget now, in this new year means new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. It boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor, and ask about a terrific low rate as well. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
She doesn't cook and she doesn't clean.
Disqualified.
But she sure knows sports.
Move over, Rover. This chick is taking over.
Mia O'Brien.
I'm so excited to be here.
On Helmets and Heels from noon to 2 on 1010XL.
I'm Holt Harrell. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were shocked that some lawyers get more from a case than their own client. After paying bills and costs, if we are supposed to get more than a client, we won't. That's the Harrell and Harrell promise. When we say that we treat our clients like family, we mean it. If you've been in an accident, call us today. 251-1111. Harrell and Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back in the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Chose C for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. They can transform your backyard with fire pits, pergolas, screen enclosures, and outdoor kitchens. And CSS handles the entire project from start to finish. You dream it, they build it. CSSOutdoor.com.
Staying Alive, One Night of the Bee Gees comes to Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts March 6th. A tribute like you've never seen before. Staying Alive features the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist, performed live. Experience Night Fever, More Than a Woman, How Deep Is Your Love, and more live on stage. Staying Alive, One Night of the Bee Gees, March 6th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hays Carlyon goes there for you.
Work on three, work on three, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hays Carlyon here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Joe C. for Blossman Gas. They've been providing hometown service and the comforts of propane to home and businesses since 1951. Imagine movie night spent around glowing gas fireplace logs, cookouts in the backyard with your propane grill, or laundry done faster with your gas dryer. Blossman has a wide variety of gas appliances to fit your needs. Propane delivery, gas appliances, and a full-service team. Blossman Gas is your local company for everything propane. Blossman Gas, log on, blossmangas.com, and check out the Blossman difference.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
No matter what the reason, sending a floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers always works. For unique and special gifts, visit their showroom on Beach Boulevard. Dylan Denmark here with 1010XL. Kuhn Flowers is my go-to and should be yours. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LOCAL to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LOCAL for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LOCAL for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Again, Frank is off today. Hope he's having a great start to his weekend, but we've got Hacker in with us. Hacker's now going to be our guy whenever Frank or myself are gone, so certainly excited about that. And we have got breaking news as James Gladstone has been named the next general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hacker, this comes from the team and their public release statement about the hire of James Gladstone gives us a little bit of more background of his career. Gladstone comes to Jacksonville after 9 seasons with the Los Angeles Rams from 2016 to 24, most recently serving as Director of Scouting Strategy from 20 through 24. In this role, Gladstone collaborated with General Manager Les Snead on strategic planning and oversaw the execution of day-to-day scouting processes. He was also responsible for scouting both current and prospective players and for providing analysis on a variety of special projects. During Gladstone's 9-year tenure in L.A., the Rams secured 4 NFC West Division titles and appeared in the postseason 6 times, including a Super Bowl victory in 2021, during which he served as the director of scouting. Gladstone began his front office career with the Rams as senior assistant to the general manager from 2016 to 2017. Before entering the NFL, Gladstone worked in educational administration as the student activities director and football coach at Clayton High School in his hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, and as the media and literacy coordinator and football coach at St. John Vianney High School, also in St. Louis. Gladstone graduated from Westminster College in 2013. My God, with a bachelor's degree in education, and he subsequently, that was my God, not the Jaguars, by the way, and he subsequently added a master's in education administration. While attending Westminster, he was a 2-time captain of the football team, awarded Athlete of the Year honors, and was named to the BSN All-American team as a wide receiver. Gladstone and his wife, Julie, have 1 daughter and are natives of St. Louis, so a pretty cool Mark Lamping tie there as well. But obviously a very young man, but instrumental in what the Rams have done.
I mean, I cannot stress this enough, and I think we all know it. But if you live outside of Jacksonville, it's the Jaguars don't do this, right? This is not what they do. I mean, they do the safe thing. They do the thing, or they keep Trent Baalke. That's the safe thing to do. They go get Doug Marrone or Doug Peterson. That's the safe thing to do. or they swing for the fence and bring in Urban Meyer. I mean, they've done a little bit of everything, but a complete and total reset is what we have here for the first time in over a decade, with young, innovative ideas completely around Trevor Lawrence. And now you bring in a general manager that helped build the Los Angeles Rams into one of the best organizations in the NFL over the last decade. I mean, it's a banner day for Jaguar fans because it finally feels like the Jaguars did something right. Now, the excitement will be unbelievable for the next 6 months. And come September, if they start 1-5, guess what? Everybody's going to be ticked. And then here we go again. But for the here and now, there was no hope in this city 47 days ago. And quite frankly, there was no hope in this city 30 days ago when Trent Baalke was still here. There is now hope because of what has transpired in the last 30 days.
Yeah, I think for Shad Khan, it's gone from his worst day as owner, which was the press conference that he had with Trent Baalke after the season, after he'd already fired Doug Peterson. His worst day as owner to now, I think you can make a case this might be his best offseason as owner because he's always spent. So and he'll spend again. So, I mean, that's always been a good thing from Shad. But, yeah, in terms of this kind of a fresh start, we haven't seen it since Gus Bradley and Dave Caldwell going into the 2013 season. And, but I think there's even going to be more excitement here because Gus was an up-and-coming defensive mind. Dave Caldwell obviously was a young guy, coming in. But I think the fact that it's with Liam Cohen offensive-oriented, I think it's got fans even more excited. Plus, you knew in 2013 that they were in for a couple really long years. Mm-hmm. I mean, that team was not ready to compete at all. And that's where I want to sort of get your thoughts, because I heard you talking about this last night. I think the roster isn't in terrible shape. I don't think they're like amazing, but I don't think it's the usual total rebuild that you would have with a new head coach and a new general manager. But from your vantage point, what would you like to see Gladstone and Cohen do? Do you want to see kind of a little mini teardown and sort of rebuild and maybe have a year where you're probably not going to be overly competitive? Or do you think that they can make moves this offseason to be right in the mix to contend with Houston to win the AFC South?
I mean, that's certainly my hope, is to make moves to contend to be in the mix. But the reality, Hays, is they're 5-18 in the last 23. And I hear a lot of people locally saying, this is not a rebuild, it's a retooling. Well, I'm not there because, again, they're 5-18 in their last 23. And you can say, well, injuries. All right, well, the last time I checked, Trevor played Monday Night Football up in Buffalo when they lost 47-10, right? They were pretty healthy, all things considering, in September when they went 0-4, and the season derailed in the first month of the year. So I think injuries are a convenient excuse. The bottom line is teams that can, quote, retool don't go 5-18 in a 23-game stretch. Now, having said that, you look at the youth on this football team. 17 guys had double-digit sacks last year. 17. Trayvon Walker was one of them. He's the second youngest of those 17. 24 players had 1,000 receiving yards last year. Brian Thomas Jr. is third youngest of those 24. And Trevor Lawrence, even though he's still entering year number 5 this upcoming season, is still one of the 10 youngest quarterbacks. So I'm not saying there's not a foundation here, and I'm not saying there are not pieces to work with. But again, I go back to 5-18. I think it's going to be more of a job than some have let on with what James Gladstone has to do. And like you said, he's not going back to L.A. I mean, he's going to the Combine on Tuesday.
Right.
You got to figure out Christian Kirk. You got to figure out Evan Ingram, their futures. Trayvon Walker is up for an extension. You got 12 unrestricted free agents, and free agency begins 17 days from today.
It really is incredible. So let's get a jump start on the tasks that James Gladstone now has, and again, working in conjunction with Liam Cohen. Let's start with Christian Kirk. The Jaguars aren't in terrible cap shape. They're about, kind of average really in the league in terms of available salary cap space. What do you think? What would you do? What would you like to see them do with Christian Kirk, assuming let's assume a restructure is out of the question. They could certainly do that, and that's probably where it will land. But if you didn't want to restructure, you didn't want to push money out, would you keep him at the number that he has, which is like $24 million, or would you move on from Christian Kirk?
It's a reasonable number, which is funny to say because that contract, when he signed it, people were just over the top and way too much money. It's reasonable if he plays. The problem is, Hays, it's back-to-back years that he's missed a portion of the season with a season-ending injury. And Christian Kirk is coming into year number 8. He's not a spring chicken anymore. I mean, he's been around for a while. Now, the one caveat is it's not as if he's rupturing Achilles tendons. He's not blowing out his ACL. He had a core abdomen injury, and then he obviously had the collarbone last year. But back-to-back years, missing numerous games with a season-ending injury at that price point, and knowing he is coming into year number 8, I'm not sure it's as cut and dry and saying, yeah, I'll keep him. That's one I would have to think about because you do save over $11 million if you let him go.
And you got to make it quick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the other thing. I would keep him. And part of that is because you've got to establish a trust with Trevor Lawrence. And I can't blame Trevor. He seems like the kind of person that he doesn't hold anyone else's mistake against a new person that he meets, but he's had a tough experience here with this organization. You've pointed that out in great detail, and you're right. And I think in looking at it, for Liam Cohen to say at his introductory press conference that Trevor Lawrence is going to have input in how we build this, I can certainly argue. I don't know that he deserves to have that. I don't know that his play is such that you would make that kind of comment. But if you're going to make that kind of comment publicly, then you can't then go and cut Trevor Lawrence's security blanket with also some big playability and probably his closest friend on the team. Now, the fact that he's his closest friend on the team, if Christian Kirk wasn't performing, who cares? You would cut him. That wouldn't factor in. But I do think if it's close, if it's sort of you're kind of 50-50, if it's kind of a coin flip decision, I do think it should weigh in. Because if you're Liam Cohen, who has, let's just face it, it's not like he's got a bunch of trophies he can, talk about in front of them. They don't really know him. So I think they're going to keep him just because I don't think they're going to want to start off their relationship with Trevor Lawrence with that kind of decision that, right or wrong, Trevor Lawrence could view as an early betrayal in their relationship.
It is the Frangie Show, so I'm going to use the word intriguing. I'm going to take a Frankism here. Well, what's intriguing is, all right, Brian Thomas Jr. was good for basically the entire year last year, but he was really good in the last month and a half when Christian Kirk wasn't out there because Kirk got hurt during the Green Bay game. And then Brian Thomas Jr., those last 7-8 games just took off because they finally decided to start throwing him the football. Thank you to Press Taylor and Doug Peterson for finally throwing Brian Thomas Jr. the football last year. So you really didn't get to see the really good BTJ with a healthy Christian Kirk and a healthy Gabe Davis. That is the intriguing part. We never got to see that. We got to see a young Brian Thomas Jr. make some splash plays in his first 6-7 games, and then Gabe Davis got hurt. And Kirk got hurt soon after that. And then it was Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington, and basically nothing else at wide receiver. So the reason to keep him, like you said, the Trevor factor especially, but if they can stay healthy, and Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk obviously did not last year, so you're kind of gambling, but if those two can stay healthy with what Brian Thomas Jr. has now become, well, then, yeah, that's an intriguing aspect. But my fear is with back-to-back season-ending injuries and pushing 30 years old in his 8th year in the league, if Kirk goes down again, well, then you're in trouble. Then you're in a lot of trouble in 2025. So that's what you got to really think about.
If you cut Kirk, what would be your move to replace him?
Well, you'd have to, obviously, that brings the draft pick into play in round 1 or round 2. That brings free agent wide receivers, although there aren't that many, which is another reason to keep Kirk. It's not a great free agent market. Assuming you're not going to get T. Higgins, and you're probably not because Cincinnati's going to franchise him. McMillan from Arizona at number 5. That, to me, is an interesting one. I've talked to a lot of draft guys. Some people really like him, and some people are very lukewarm on him. And there is a huge gap in the scouting community, at least the guys I've had on, about McMillan.
I think that's accurate.
He's a completely different player than Kirk.
Some people think he's a legit top 5 pick. Others believe he's more like mid-first round.
Right, exactly. So I guess maybe I'm even talking myself into keeping Kirk here, But those injuries do scare me because it's happened back-to-back years. And again, he's not 25 anymore, so you'd be playing with fire a little bit.
And look, Gladstone is coming from an organization that even if your franchise legend may be too strong, but look at Cooper Kupp. He's been fantastic for them, and they're moving on. Which I think, we know Matthew Stafford isn't thrilled about because of what his wife said on social media about it. And who knows if Stafford will even be there. There's, whispers that maybe he'd be on the block as well. But I understand that, Belichick was great about this in New England, 15 years ago. It's one of those things that you do a lot of times need to move off of a guy you like a year before it's too late. But I just think in looking at this, how they build it, I think the fact that Brian Thomas Jr. has emerged as a superstar, I would want to see what it looks like, to your point, with Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis. I mean, they kind of have to keep. It just doesn't do them any good to cut him. It would cost them more,
contract,
and
right.
no one's going to take him.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much saddled with Gabe Davis, and you just have to hope that he gets healthy and can contribute. But I would like to see what it looks like when Brian Thomas is the featured guy, the guy that you want to get 12 to 15 targets to each game, and Christian Kirk is more of the 7 to 9 target guy, but potentially could be very highly efficient, because obviously we know what defenses are going to do. They're going to try to take away BTJ. Now, they tried to do that in the last 6 weeks of the season, and no one could. So we'll see. But I would keep Kirk. Again, if they were in real bad cap shape, it would be an easier decision. But to me, you hit on it. The free agent market isn't great if you want to go get a guard and a safety, which I think are probably going to be, when you look at the lists of the top 5 guys on the market at each position, I could see a guard and a safety. Well, those aren't going to be like blockbuster contracts. Those positions just don't generate that kind of money. So with where they are, I would keep Kirk and then, look at the guard safety market in free agency there. But
now here's your question. All right, you keep Kirk.
Yes.
Brian Thomas Jr.'s back.
Right.
Gabe Davis.
Correct.
Parker Washington. Okay.
Yep.
Tank Bigsby.
Yep.
Travis Etienne. You're kind of running it back.
Yeah.
You're kind of running it back with what you had last year. You're running it back with an offense that, when everybody was healthy, I mean, they put 13 points on the board against Cleveland. He's 17 on the board against Miami. I mean, that to me, it comes down to coaching, right? If you believe in Liam Cohen and Grant Udinski and Spencer Whipple and all the guys you brought in, I would be okay with running it back. But if you bring all these guys back, are the results going to be vastly different? Because they need to be, because the offense at times was not good last year.
It was not. I think they're banking on that they have hired an offensive. I mean, they're going to certainly improve the offensive line. So, but yeah, I mean, from a skill standpoint, I don't think it's going to radically change much. I'd have no problem taking Tedero McMillan at 5, but I don't think that's what they're doing. I mean, you can't talk about wanting to build a physical line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball and then take a receiver at 5.
Well, look at what the Rams did last year. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. I got news for you. If Mason Graham is there at 5, odds are that's going to be James Gladstone's vote.
That's what I would think as well. And again, I think Liam Cohen's been very adamant about, how important it is to build both lines. And obviously, we saw what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl. So, I think you bank on that Liam Cohen is a massive upgrade over what Doug Peterson and Press Taylor were doing. And I honestly, that's a risk I think that's going to bear out to be the case. I don't think there was any creativity in the offense.
It was
very
like stagnant.
I mean, Doug would admit in press conferences that it was basically the same thing he was running in 2017 when the Eagles won the world title, and he would almost admit that as a well, this is why it's going to work, or this is my justification for doing it the way I'm doing it. But the league changes every year. I mean, so you're talking 2017 is ancient history when you talk about schematics on both sides of the ball. And so, I do think they're going to bank on having an innovative offensive mind that the league still hasn't really caught up to yet. And, we'll see if they're right. It is really ironic that Liam Cohen and James Gladstone Cohen is 39. Gladstone is 34. Their combined age is younger than Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick.
That's wild.
I mean,
yeah,
it is unbelievable.
You could have, and just trying to think as positive as I can, you could have the Gladstone-Cohen combination here in Jacksonville for the next 15 years.
Absolutely.
For the next 20 years.
Yeah, because these guys don't leave. You don't have to worry about, like, well, the Steelers came in and offered Liam Cohen a huge deal, and he couldn't. That doesn't happen.
No.
So, no. And it's not going to happen with Gladstone either. You don't see GMs go from one spot to the other. It's not like college sports. So, yeah, I mean, there's every indication that, I mean, these guys could be a tandem for a very long time if they're talented enough to get the job done, and that's what we'll have to find out in the fall.
And not that the Jaguars did this to appease the fan base, but I can tell you, and again, we sometimes think that Twitter/X is 100% of the world. It's not. It's a small minority. But you look at the reaction coming in the last 30 minutes, Jaguar fans are pumped.
I love it.
About this.
I'm glad. I mean, they deserve to have this happiness. And again, it might be fleeting. We'll see. But to be able to feel the optimism, particularly when the early days of January were just so gloom and doom. Oh. And it was like, you got to be kidding me. How does he not know that he's got to fire this GM? And to think that now here we are getting ready to head to the combine with totally fresh leadership. It's fantastic. So, yeah, I'm glad. I hope the fans are elated, and hopefully the Jaguars have answered the have found their answer at coach and GM for a very long time.
You went from that weird Zoom press conference.
Yeah.
One of the most bizarre press conferences ever with Shad and
disaster.
It was a nightmare. It was a dumpster fire. You go from that, which was 4 weeks ago, or I guess when Peterson got fired, about 5 weeks ago. You go from that to this in 5 or 6 week period. What a turnaround.
What a turnaround indeed. We will keep it on the Jaguars. Again, James Gladstone, your new general manager for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will continue to break it down. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The NBA is on 1010XL.
Franz Wagner leads the Orlando Magic in a weekend matchup against the Grizzlies. Tonight at 6:30 on 1010 AM.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. James Spence Authentication will be verifying autographs inside Showtime tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's JSA's first of 4 times he'll be in Showtime during 2025. JSA tomorrow from 11 to 3 inside Showtime. Sports cards and collectibles. Update your collection.
Frank Frangie here from Bono's Pit Barbecue. Can you say Brunswick's Duval? Well, for a limited time only, enjoy a signature Bono's barbecue sandwich paired with your choice of homemade Brunswick stew, savory soup, or smokehouse chili starting at just $11.99. Your choice of a pulled pork, smoked turkey, smoked sausage, char-grilled chicken, or brisket sandwich, plus a bowl of hot and delicious stew or chili. You absolutely can't beat that deal. So head to Bono's, your local Bono's. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Call the deck guys if you want a brand new deck pavers or more. Call 904-813-2474.
TheDeckGuysJacks.com.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Bueller, stay cooler
with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. And every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Mia O'Brien is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL.
Hey, poker players, get ready for a month packed with big winnings at Best Bet in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. On select dates, win $300 every 15 minutes on our fast action table games. Make a royal flush in hearts and win $5,000 on Valentine's Day. And there's 24 karat gold day in Jacksonville on February 28th. It's all happening this month at Best Bet. For all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
You survived the cold, and it's time to heat up your spring with a cigar tasting of Perdomo cigars. Join Tobacco Cove Saturday, February 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m. for a tasting extravaganza featuring Perdomo cigars rolled in Nicaragua. Food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to experience the quality and value Perdomo offers. Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
Warm weather means the beach, fishing, golf, and more. Make sure to drop into Daly's and grab a cold case to go. From Bud Light to their seltzer, from Mick Ultra to Modelo, or your favorite crafts like Bold City or Sweetwater. Grab and go at your local Daly's.
Hey, this is David with Royal Pest Services. The fact that we've been bundled up the past month gave us an idea. Let's bundle up also with our Centricon and Pest Control Bundle, starting at $349. Visit RoyalPestServices.com for your free inspection.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
I love when JJ plays Guns N' Roses, particularly songs off of Appetite for Destruction, one of the greatest rock albums ever created, and probably the best debut rock album created in my lifetime, at least my life as a fan of rock and roll. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. We have got Hacker joining us. Frank is on vacation today, and we have got breaking news. The Jaguars have hired general manager James Gladstone from the LA Rams. Gladstone is 34 years old and was the winner in a very competitive derby, which featured 10 total candidates, 5 interviews that were conducted in person over the last 3 days. And the Jaguars have their man in James Gladstone. So we went over kind of the first decision that the new Jaguars brass has to come to, which is what to do with Christian Kirk. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other secondary issues that they're going to have to come to a decision on fairly quickly, Hacker. And let's start with tight end Evan Ingram. Now, his cap number isn't as high as Christian Kirk's, and his savings isn't as high. But where would you view Evan Ingram's place with this organization? Is he on thin ice, or do you think he absolutely should be back on the team?
No, I would definitely bring him back. I mean, I thought when he played last year, he was good. Obviously, the injury bug really hit him for the first time since he became a Jaguar. But when he was out there, I thought he was still pretty solid. I mean, that Green Bay game was incredible. Some of the stuff Evan Ingram did in that game. And you look at it, I love the two tight end set with Evan Ingram and Britton Strange. We didn't get to see a lot of it until at least the end of the year, but I like that idea. And Liam Cohen likes to use the tight ends, man. Look at Cade Otton down in Tampa and things they did down there. So you don't save a lot of money by cutting Ingram. He is over 30 years of age. That's something to take into account. But I think at least for 2025, I hope Evan Ingram is in the plans.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I would hope so. And he's just, I mean, he is one of the best professionals from a mindset standpoint that this organization has brought in the 12 years I've covered him. I mean, he is just everything that you would want from a player mentality, leadership mentality, toughness mentality, work ethic mentality, team first mentality. And yeah, I think Evan Ingram still has great football left in him. So again, for me, it's like, I don't want to get rid of weapons. Particularly, I think this offseason is going to be about, let's find some dudes that can win street fights in the trenches.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the theme of this. I mean, Tony Baselli has made that pretty clear. I think Liam Cohen has made it pretty clear in his comments about the offensive line in particular. So, I think if it's going to be that kind of an offseason, then, yeah, protect your skill guys. And not to say they won't add to that, but I think in terms of your big free agent money and your prime draft capital, I think you're looking at defensive and offensive linemen.
I mean, they basically have, a dozen unrestricted in-house free agents that James Gladstone's going to have to figure out what to do with. Only 2 starters. And you mentioned that
Right.
Brandon Sheriff, which 33 years of age, I would highly doubt he'll be back.
They'll wish him luck elsewhere.
Right, and you're going to have a new right guard. And then the Andre Sisco one's interesting because, boy, Sisco, if you would have told me a year ago, I would have said he's a prime candidate for the franchise tag. And he just had a bad 2024, and I would be okay if they let Sisco walk.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the more that we get away from the season, like obviously Ryan Nielsen was not the answer, and so you do wonder a little bit about when you look at individual defensive performances, how much of that was having a boss that really wasn't up to the job. But I would agree with you. I just don't think there was enough with Sisco to warrant bringing him back on an extension. So I'd let him hit the market as well. But your point's a good one because I did a 53 the other day just to kind of get a look at their needs, and it always sort of helps me to kind of look at it on the page. And they bring back basically every starter except Brandon Sheriff and Andre Sisco.
Yeah.
I mean, so it is a team that, the nucleus is there. Now, we can argue about how talented that nucleus is, but certainly it's there. Let's talk about another decision that not necessarily has the timeline crunch of Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, but I do think is something that, from a cap standpoint, would be interesting to know if they could get it done, and that's an extension for Trayvon Walker. He's now been in the league 3 years, so he is eligible. They're under no urgency to do it. They could let him play his 4th year. Obviously, they'll pick up his 5th-year option, and then let him see what happens. And then he would have the 5th-year option. You would then have the franchise tag option for 2 years in a row. So, I mean, they could extend this years out if they wanted to. But how do you feel about Trayvon Walker as a player, and would you like to see James Gladstone and Liam Cohen now try and get a long-term extension done with Trayvon like they were able to do with Trevor Lawrence last year?
Well, Trevor Lawrence was obviously a different scenario because of where he is in the franchise world, in the quarterback world. Tyson Campbell is going to be an interesting precedent. Now, that was a different regime, right? But Tyson and Walker Little to an extent too. Tyson Campbell and Walker Little both got their money. I guess Tyson Campbell got it before year number 4. Trayvon Walker is every bit as good as Tyson Campbell, if not better, to this defense. If you don't give Trayvon Walker his money before year number 4, I have no idea if that would be an issue with Trayvon. I do wonder about that, knowing that a guy like Tyson did get paid. But again, that was Trent Baalke. That's not Liam Cohen and James Gladstone. I would extend Trayvon Walker. Look, he gets ridiculed nationally because he's not Aiden Hutchinson. That's fine. He's got back-to-back double-digit sacks. I just said earlier, 17 players in the NFL last year had more than 10 sacks. He was one of them, and he was the second youngest, only older than Will Anderson in Houston. I am fine with Trayvon Walker. I think he's earned his money, and if it were me, I would do it sooner rather than later.
I think that's very well said. I completely agree. Trayvon Walker, and I would do that deal before Detroit gets the Hutchinson deal done, because that is going to be astronomical. And so if you can get the deal done now, if James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, if they can get it worked out, I would do it now. I think Trayvon Walker is a big part of the Jaguars' future, and I think he's an outstanding player. So, yeah, totally agree with you on that. When we come back, we are going to bring in Pete Prisco, as we do every Friday, and we are going to get his thoughts on the new Jaguars general manager, James Gladstone. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are expecting slight turbulence. Please remain in your seats until the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign.
We have clearance, Clarence. What's our vector, Victor?
1010XL.
It's the only way to fly.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interests first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
To get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
DuckDuck Rooter is now hiring plumbers. We offer excellent weekly pay, paid holidays, health insurance, 401k, and so much more. Apply now at DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com and click on the careers page. DuckDuck Rooter is an equal opportunity employer.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Upgrade your home with the winning combination of style and performance from Renewal by Andersen. Energy efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires February 28th. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Future NFL stars showcase their skills.
Let's go, guys.
Hodges Mazda presents the Frangie Show at the Combine. Opened by Window World of Northeast Florida. Roll through the off-season with AA Automotive on Richard Street and 1010XL.
Hello, sports fans. Hicken here. Let's talk skin. I Am Beaches Dermatology are reminding you to wear your sunscreen. If you're an active parent hanging at the fields, in your boat to fish, or like to chill at the sandbar, wear sunscreen. But if you're the one that decided for years it's not cool, guess what? Cancer isn't cool either. So when grabbing the clubs for your tea time, gassing up the boat, or grabbing the chairs for your kids' games, make sure you bring the screen. Any concerns now? Give Beaches Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound and Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey folks, Hicken here for Zero Res, and if you still have a little bit of time for the hottest price of the year on carpet cleaning, maybe you had people over for the game or you're doing early spring cleaning, but in February, only $147 for 3 rooms, plus the 4th room is free. That's right, schedule now and you'll get 3 rooms for $147, and the 4th room is free. Yeah, the 4th room is on me. Hottest price of the year. Zero Res. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREZ. Zero Res.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Dogtopia at Beach in St. John's Bluff. Yesterday, it was announced that Florida's co-offensive coordinator and tight ends coach Russ Callaway has been promoted to offensive coordinator. Callaway is a young rising star on the Florida staff and has been promoted 3 times since joining the Gators in 2022. Although Billy Napier will continue to be the play caller, Callaway will have a big role with the offense and as a game planner. Here's quarterback Graham Mertz from a few months ago on Russ Callaway and the energy he brings.
He's got some fire, man. He's got some fire. I think the biggest thing with him is his passion for the game, and he shows it. He's very vocal. He's a great leader. Yeah, he wants to be aggressive. I think across the board, you can tell he has a fantastic... I can't wait until they mic him up for a practice and everybody can see it, but he is juiced up 24/7. He loves his team. He wants us to be aggressive and score a ton of points.
It's 48 degrees at 5:02. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time for all things Jaguars and NFL with Pete Prisco. The Prisco Report, presented by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Showtime.
On The Frangie Show.
All right, welcome back. Yes, Showtime. Important announcement. JSA will be at Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. to authenticate your autographed items. JSA is a leader in the collectibles industry in autograph authentication and registry. So go check it out if you've got something that they can help you with. And it is our pleasure to bring in our good buddy Pete Prisco on this breaking news afternoon as James Gladstone has been announced as the new Jaguars general manager. Pete, thanks so much for joining us.
Damn, he beat me out. I'm kind of upset about it.
I was pulling for you. You had one glaring problem. You're not a child.
You know what? I look at these hires and everybody's going to around the league is going to open some eyes and oh my gosh, they didn't go conventional and why didn't they go get a guy? Well, they went conventional the last couple of times. How'd that work out for them?
Exactly.
Not very well. I mean, Trent Baalke, conventional. Doug Peterson, conventional. And it didn't work. And so I have no problem with going outside the box and hiring somebody. I mean, like I always say, it's just football. And it's not that complicated. And I've worked with a lot of people around this league that have been in the league. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate it. And Gladstone is a bright, young guy who happens to have a football background, but he also is very good at analytics and applying that to the scouting. And look, I know people that say, "Well, where'd he come from?" You know where he came from? I'll tell you where he came from. He was the offensive coordinator on Les Snead's son's football team in high school in St. Louis. Les was so impressed with him, and I've known Les a long time. Les is smart. Les was the gopher on the Jaguars' first staff. He had to go get Andre Rison out of bed. But Les Snead is a good football guy. If he thought this guy had talent and brought him in, and he made him work his way up, too. It wasn't like he just gave him a job and made him the director of college scouting. He made him work his way up. He did. He was impressed with him, and then he made him director of college scouting. And look at their draft. I mean, this team was built at one point by going all in, making trades like trading away first-round picks, going to get a guy like Jalen Ramsey, win a Super Bowl, but then you got to rebuild it. And if you look at his drafts the last 3 years, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, okay, there's your first two this year, Blake Corum, who played, Cam Kitchens, who played, and Bo Limmer in the 6th round, who was the starting center, and then Whittington, the wide receiver who played. Then you go to last year, Avila, starting offensive lineman, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, McClendon has played, Puka Nacua in the 5th round, and then you go to the next year, Kyron Williams in the 5th, Quentin Lake, big part of their defense in the 6th. I mean, they had to retool it, and he did it. And so I like the hire. I know it's not what everybody in this league thinks it should be, or it's not, one of the guys whose names was all over the place, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I like the hire too, Pete. And Hacker and I were talking about this before, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. So obviously they've got to make a lot of decisions quickly. They're behind many of the other clubs that, either, didn't make the playoffs and kept their coach and GM. I mean, they've been working on their offseason plan now for 6 weeks. So obviously they've got to make some decisions pretty quickly. What would be your advice on Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and whether to retain those players or release them?
Well, I would go to them first and see if they would take cuts. And if they wouldn't take cuts, then I'd probably release them. I mean, you saw last year you have replacements for them. You have a replacement for Christian Kirk. So I don't think at that salary he's worth keeping around. He's a good player, but he's not worth that salary. So I think you go to him and you say, hey, look, we'd like to keep you around. I know, Trevor likes you, but you'd have to cut that salary down. And if he says no, then you let him go. And, same with Ingram. But Ingram's a little bit different because you do need another pass-catching tight end there. And I know they have Strange, and he flashed at times, and then the team didn't throw to him, and then he disappeared. And, it's hard to evaluate him based on the usage last year because it was weird. In fact, a lot of things on that team were weird. But I think I'd go to both of them and say, hey, we'd like to keep you, but we might make you take a pay cut. If they say no, then, maybe you make a decision and let them go.
Pete, it's interesting. Good to talk to you, by the way, my friend. It's interesting in the complete 180 that this organization has made in the last 6 weeks. I mean, it was 6 weeks ago you had that weird Zoom press conference with Shad Khan and Trent Baalke that was just bizarre and odd and strange. And Ben Johnson then, goes to Chicago, and people think the sky is falling. And then Liam Cohen says, well, I'm out. And then Baalke gets fired or asked to part ways 4 hours later. And now here we are talking strictly to the Jaguar fan base that's listening. And I can tell you, right or wrong, people here are over the moon about what has transpired this offseason in the last month or so, the decision Shad Khan has made.
And they should be. I mean, let's be real. And a lot of that starts with bringing Tony Baselli in to oversee the whole thing. And now I get to rip him to shreds every week, just like I used to rip the team. He's part of it now, so instead of doing the show with him, I can rip him every week, and I will. And I've told him that already. But, I mean, you needed a guy, a liaison between the owner and the football side. And they didn't have that. He didn't have any confidants in that building. It was either go to Baalke and listen to his crap, and which is why he said, oh, this is the most talented team that we've had, because Baalke told him that. So he said that. Who do you think told him that? So now he has somebody that he can lean on in Tony, which I think is good. Cohn comes in. He's going to have a lot of juice and as it relates to all the football stuff, which is good. And now you're bringing a young, general manager. And I think the staff, you look at the staff, a lot of youth there. But that's not a bad thing. Everybody always says, well, he's only done this long. It's not that complicated. You go in, you let your coaches coach, and if they're good coaches, they will show that they're good coaches, whether they're 35 or 55. And I think that's the biggest difference with this team.
Yeah, I think that's well said, because if you're looking for innovation, you're more likely to find that in 30-year-olds than you are 60, 70-year-olds. I mean, that's just life. So
bite your tongue.
Well, Pete, you've got a system that obviously has worked for a long time. I'm curious. Obviously, Trayvon Walker is now eligible for an extension. I don't think that's a decision they necessarily need to make anytime soon. His number is like, I think, $11 million next year. So even if they did the extension, it might, it might save him a little bit of money. It might cost him a little bit more depending on how they structured it, but it wouldn't like drastically change their cap or anything. But just in your viewpoint, where is Trayvon Walker in his career, and would you go ahead and get that extension done, or would you want him to play on his fifth year option and possibly a tag?
I'd let him play. I'd go into this season and see, new staff, new defensive coordinator. Let's see what he does. And look, he's been good. He just hasn't been great. And they drafted him with the idea he would be great. So I think you want to see what he can do. I thought they both got too heavy last year. If he's going to get heavy, then he needs to move inside. Hines Allen was too heavy last year. He needs to trim down again. And they need help around him, which is why you're sitting at number 5. You got a real opportunity to get a guy like Mason Graham. You might go in that direction, or since it's a deep, defensive lineman draft, defensive tackle draft, you could take Travis Hunter in that spot and come back and get one in the second round. So I think they need to get bigger and tougher. If the Philadelphia Eagles haven't taught us one lesson out there, it's just that you're a big, physical, nasty, violent team, and everything else will work its way around that. And Jacksonville hasn't been a big, nasty, physical team in a long time, and they need to get back to that. And that means getting a new right guard. That means maybe getting a new center. He's he's on his last legs. He's got 1 year left, and getting tougher in the middle of their defensive line. I think those are all priorities for them this season. And if they do that, they're not that far off. There's good players there. They got a couple. You got to get a corner. You got to get safeties. They do have money. They can free up some money. They can go get some guys if they want to in free agency.
Pete, you kind of just answered this question, but I'll ask it anyway. James Gladstone's got to get to work quick. Free agency is 2 weeks away. The Jaguars only have, I think, a dozen in-house unrestricted free agents, and they only have 2 starters. Brandon Sheriff at right guard, Andre Sisco at safety. Would you let both guys walk?
See ya. Yeah. I mean, look, in fairness to Sheriff, he's played a lot of football. His body's beaten up. He plays like he's beaten up. He was okay last year. He got better as the season went along, but I don't think you can give him anything for more than if he wants to come back on a year, maybe. But I don't think you give him anything more than that. If he does want to play, Sisco, I'd let go. I thought Sisco regressed in a big way last year. There were times where I didn't think he played as hard as he should have played, which is always concerning. He didn't look like the same sudden guy he was 2 years ago, so that's a cause for concern there. And I think you can find safety. I mean, you can go get a veteran if you want to. You can draft a young guy. I think the safety position needs to be revamped in Jacksonville. Savage wasn't the answer. Antonio Johnson hasn't been the answer, and neither has Cisco.
In terms of free agents, we don't know exactly who's going to hit the market, but it doesn't appear like the franchise tag is really going to be a factor in the NFL offseason this go-around. Who are a couple of free agents that you think the Jaguars should have their eyes on and be ready to make a competitive offer to once legal tampering begins?
Well, I have to decide what they're going to do with the center position, because if they're not going, if the center position isn't going to be fixed, or if they're going to play with Morse again, then they need to stay away from this guy. But Drew Dahlman's a guy from the Falcons. He's 26 years old. He's a good quality starting center. Now he's coming off an injury. He'd be a guy I'd look at. I'd look at a veteran corner. I mean, there are corners on the market. You look at Carlton Davis is on the market. Ward, who didn't, he had all kinds of issues, for the 49ers last year off the field, didn't play as well. He's on the market. Who's a good safety if they want to go for a safety? Morig from the Raiders, good underrated player. You could get a guy so you could get, if you came out at a free agency, got a starting safety like Morig, a starting corner, if you're going to go in that direction and you're not going to take a guy like Travis Hunter, then you get a corner. You don't need to take Travis Hunter. Maybe you get, Carlton Davis, and then maybe you get an offensive lineman, whether it be, the center or maybe Will Freeze from the Colts. A guy like that you could plug and play. Maybe Murphy's the corner, James Daniels the lineman. I think you need to come out of free agency with a starting safety, an offensive guard, and a corner. If you can do that, then you don't force yourself into being, taking somebody. And then in the draft, if you're sitting there at 5, if you don't want to take Graham, you could take Hunter, and then you could come back and take a defensive tackle in the second round. I think those are the priority positions. One other thing, another speed receiver. because they need more help there. And I think they could, Gabe Davis, something was up with him. I think we're going to hear that he was hurt all year because he looked heavy. He didn't look fast. I've been watching.
He was using a cane at Liam Cohen's introductory press conference.
Yeah, all year. Nobody said a word about it. You could just tell. And here's why. You guys, when the Bills are getting ready to play the Chiefs, they kept playing the 13-second game over and over again. And that Gabe Davis, who was in that game, where the hell did that guy go?
Mm-hmm.
Because he looked fast and explosive and dynamic, and he certainly wasn't that for Jacksonville last year. So I think that, they got to bring him back because the contract says so. So if he's in shape, then you still need one more guy. And I think you can find – this is a great receiver draft. I've been doing all my work on this. There's a ton of receivers in this draft. They can get guys in this draft.
Pete, you tend to connect the dots when it comes to free agency with the guys the Jaguars have brought in, whether it's Campanile from Green Bay, Udinski from Minnesota, Gladstone from the Rams. Are we overthinking that, or do you think there's merit there?
I think sometimes you overthink it. Remember, the coaches aren't the guys making the decisions. Now, they'll give their input, but Gladstone and Liam Cohen are going to be making those decisions, and Tony will have input as well, but not necessarily the coaches. You'd like to hear from the coaches, but, in this league, a lot of times coaches push sometimes too far, and it doesn't work. But I'll say this. The coaches had great input in what happened in Washington last year with the free agents, and that seemed to work. If you go back and connect the dots, they brought a lot of guys in that they knew. Dan Quinn brought a lot of guys in he knew. They brought guys in from Carolina that they knew. So they brought a lot of guys in that they knew, and it seemed to work. But those are only like one-year contract type of situation. So you have to be careful with that. I'd lean on everybody in the damn building. I think that's one of the big flaws, Hacker, in the whole NFL, is a guy gets a job, and he's the GM, and all of a sudden now he's going to do it his way, and that's it. And I'm not going to listen to anybody else. I know GMs have fired scouts that disagreed with them. If I have a scout who disagrees with me on a player, I'm going to go back and reevaluate that player on my own. Then I'm going to go back and sit with that scout and say, hey, you know what? You were right. I was a little low on this guy. And I want input from everybody in the building. I want to hear your opinions, because just because I'm the guy in charge, yeah, I'm making the decisions, but it doesn't mean that I wasn't once that guy sitting on the other side of the desk that thought I knew something that could have helped the organization and they never asked me. So I think that's going to change in that building now in a big way.
When are you getting to the Combine?
Monday. You guys going?
Nice. Yes, it'll be me, Frank, and Mia. So
okay.
we're getting there Monday as well. So
I will see you, and we will sit down and chat for sure.
That sounds great. Pete Prisco, we always appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you in Indianapolis.
You got it, guys. Take care.
All right, that is Pete Prisco. Always does a great job talking Jags and NFL with us. Again, that's sponsored by Showtime for the best in vintage cards as well as terrific autographed items. Head to Showtime at the corner of Phillips and Shad Road and find Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Lots to take in there. We will break it all down when we come back. Again, you're listening to The Frangie Show on a day of breaking news. James Gladstone, the new Jaguars general manager. You were listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and Jags football.
To the 5, into the end zone, touchdown!
Jaguar football lives here. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice, watch the roulette wheel spin, and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star, sip cocktails that shimmer, then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now. Only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
I'm Renee Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, we understand when you've been in an accident, there's a lot to handle. You've lost pay, and now the medical bills are piling up. When there isn't much insurance, some attorneys will pay your bills, take their fee, leaving you with even less than them. Not at Harrell & Harrell. We'll work hard to reduce your medical bills, and we promise our fee will never be more than you take home. Call us today, 904-251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Craft beers, food trucks, live music, and more beer at the Riverside Craft Beer Festival this Sunday afternoon at Riverside Arts Market. Get your tickets at riversidecraftbeerfestival.com. Proceeds benefit Community Peace Care and the Rotary Foundation.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Learn more about the beautiful game of soccer and its impact on the River City.
What a beautiful thing to behold.
Get an hour of soccer talk on the Sporting Jack Soccer Hour.
That's all I want to know.
Tuesday at 6 p.m. on 1010 a.m.
Experience the high-flying action truly unlike anything on the Supercross circuit at Daytona Supercross. Saturday, March 1st. Side-by-side intensity of Monster Energy AMA Supercross on the most demanding track of the circuit. Get close to the action as riders get pushed to the limits on the Ricky Carmichael designed track. For a chance to win tickets to Daytona Supercross, answer this. Who won the 450 final Supercross at Daytona in 2024? Text the winner's last name to 641-1010 now.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Staying Alive, one night of the Bee Gees comes to Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts March 6th. A tribute like you've never seen before. Staying Alive features the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist, performed live. Experience Night Fever, More Than a Woman, How Deep Is Your Love, and more live on stage. Staying Alive, one night of the Bee Gees, March 6th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
Man, I get Foo Fighters and GNR. That's fantastic. Well done, JJ. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank is on vacation, but we've got Hacker in joining us. We're very excited about that. And we have had a show of one topic and one topic only, Hacker, because James Gladstone announced as the new Jaguars general manager. In case you guys missed it, just getting in the car, just joining us, the Jaguars have completed their general manager search, and they have gone with the LA Rams wonder kid, James Gladstone, 34 years old. Hacker, just give us a reset. I'll kind of tell listeners about Gladstone's history and what's been written about him, but your overall thoughts about James Gladstone joining Liam Cohen as the new leaders with Tony Baselli of Jaguars football.
It's a turning of the page here in Jacksonville, whether it works or not. I'm getting some reaction from some Jaguar fans. Oh, people are too over the top. It may not work. Well, that's not the point. That conversation will happen in September if losses begin accumulating, and then we'll talk about it then. But for the here and now, this is something that Shad Khan hasn't done in over a decade. It is a complete and total reset. Obviously, he realized, and luckily, it was eventually, better late than never, I suppose, he realized what was going on with this organization was not working. We all knew that based on the win-loss record, and he figured it out to his credit, and he differentiated from the plan. And the plan was to have Trent Baalke here and to get a new head coach, and we threw our hands in the air saying, are you kidding me? What is going on? And in 30 days, basically, 30 days, it's completely been turned upside down with a new EVP of football operations, a 39-year-old offensive mind as a head coach, now a 34-year-old general manager. It is something different than what we've had in Jacksonville for well over a decade. And Hays, in my situation, my knowledge, I'm a Wolfson High guy, so, give me a little bit of a break in that regard. But from my education standpoint, something different from a team that went 64 and 148 in the last 13 years is probably a good thing. And it'll be a good thing for the next 6 months. It brings hope to the city, brings hope to the fan base, hope to the organization. And we'll see what happens come September.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited as well. I can't wait to see what becomes of this new vision of Jaguars football that we were just longing for and craving. And to your point, it was kind of a messy process early because Shad, I think obviously thought he could do this and retain Trent Baalke. And once he realized what a colossal error that was, the Jaguars were able to really rally here. Adding Tony Baselli as EVP, hiring Liam Cohen, and then adding James Gladstone today. Modern football, Shad was very adamant about that. We're too predictable. I want deception, innovation, and certainly seems to have found it. Let's give you guys some insights into James Gladstone. So we're going to start with The Athletic. The Athletic this week did their top 50 list of under 40. And so basically it's the 50 most influential people, in their opinion, in the NFL that are under the age of 40. Liam Cohen made this list, but we're going to focus on James Gladstone, the new general manager. And this is what The Athletic wrote about James Gladstone in the profile. The Rams nailed their last two draft classes, identifying 10 starters through that span with just one first-round pick. Standout players from the 23 and 24 classes include receiver Puka Nacua, outside linebackers Byron Young and Jared Verse, defensive linemen Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk, and guard Steve Avila. Turner was a finalist for Defensive Rookie of the Year in 23, while Verse won it in 24. Gladstone oversaw the strategic overhaul of the Rams draft processes after 2022 and has since led their modern and complex methods. He is a finalist for the Jaguars GM vacancy, and obviously, as we found out around showtime today, 4 o'clock, he has gotten the job. He is the Jaguars' new general manager. The Jaguars have also released a statement announcing the hire, and in their press release, this is what they have to write about Gladstone's tenure with the Rams. Gladstone comes to Jacksonville after 9 seasons with the LA Rams, most recently serving as director of scouting strategy In this role, Gladstone collaborated with General Manager Les Snead on strategic planning and oversaw the execution of day-to-day scouting processes. He was also responsible for scouting both current and prospective players and for providing analysis on a variety of special projects. During Gladstone's 9-year tenure in L.A., the Rams secured 4 NFC West Division titles and appeared in the postseason 6 times, including a Super Bowl win in 2021, during which he served as the director of scouting. Gladstone began his front office career with the Rams as senior assistant to the general manager from 2016 through 2017. So Hacker, a very young man, but somebody that has been working in what you'd have to say is an elite front office for many years.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you look at the drafts, like we've talked about, the drafts for the Rams have been terrific. Learning under a guy like Les Snead has been a very good thing for James Gladstone. And I'm looking here, and I can't imagine he's not. He's got to be the youngest general manager in the NFL now, correct?
I would say by a pretty, I would think a pretty decent margin. At least 3 or 4 years.
I got a list here from, what is this from? This is from March of 24. So this is 12 months ago. And at that point, Cleveland Andrew Berry was 36, and he was the youngest one last year.
Okay. So about a 3-year difference.
About a 3-year difference. And there have been a couple new GMs hired this year, but I don't think any of them are 34 years old.
By the time Gladstone's 37, he'll have 2 Lombardi trophies with the Jaguars.
And draft 10 Pro Bowlers. Yeah, and 2 future Hall of Famers on that list, mind you, as well. No, but again, he has credentials. If you haven't watched the video, and again, it's a 60-second video clip, all right? I'm not trying to make it something it's not. But just type in James Gladstone Rams draft prep, I think is what I Googled, because I had a bunch of people telling me about it. And he's in this room with all of these Rams scouts. Like everybody in the Rams scouting department's in this room. It's a big room. And he is just blowing their minds with the numbers and the decimal points, and we got this, and we're going to do that, and this is over here, and that's over there. And I'm watching it, and even though it's 60 seconds, I'm thinking, holy moly. And at that point, honestly, after that video, I kind of did the meme where I kind of looked on the other side of Ian Cunningham to the person in the back, and that was James Gladstone. I'm like, well, I kind of like that guy. And that was 3 weeks ago. And here we are. It's come full circle in a very short amount of time that he's now the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It really has. And can you feel energy, excitement, enthusiasm with this fan base?
I don't think there's any question about it. And again, that goes back to, I've gotten 300 responses on social media that I've been looking at. A couple of them are more wait and see, and I get it. But this fan base has been through the fiery gates of football purgatory, man. I mean, it has been bad here for over a decade. And I can't stress this enough. This is so un-Jaguar what they've done in the last 6 weeks. The Jaguars don't hire guys like this. They hire retreads like Mike Mularkey and like Doug Marrone and like Doug Peterson. And they do things that you just don't want them to do as a fan base. And for the first time in a long time, it's been home run after home run after home run. From Liam Cohen to Tony Baselli, the James Gladstone. I think people are infatuated with the 29-year-old coordinator and Grant Udinski. Whether it works or not, again, not the issue. For the month of February, March, April, into the offseason, there is a lot of excitement and optimism now within the city.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel it and I share it. I mean, I'm really excited to see what the Jaguars will look like and what this offseason will look like, and is to sort of set the table for where things are going, because obviously it's going to move very fast now for James Gladstone. So he's got the rest of today, he's got tomorrow, and he's got Sunday to kind of collect himself and get some initial impressions of what he's going to have to work with. And obviously he's been doing his prep. He wanted to dazzle them in the interview. So obviously he's been formulating what he would do. But still, it's a different deal when you now are I don't know if he's been handed the keys. I still think Liam Cohen's got the keys in his pocket, but certainly James Gladstone is a big piece of what they're going to be doing. And so it comes very quickly. The Jaguars have announced that James Gladstone's press conference will be Monday at 11 a.m. That will include Shad Khan. So that will certainly be very interesting. Frank and I will be on our way to Indianapolis, so we will not be there for that.
We'll air it live on 1010.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Tuesday, James Gladstone will talk at the Combine at the podium at 11:30 Tuesday morning. So 2 significant media events for James Gladstone, really in his first 3-4 days as general manager. Liam Cohen's going to talk at 11 a.m. on Tuesday in Indianapolis. So the wheels are in motion with that. And then, so obviously he's going to get asked a lot of questions about Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram and the plan and the fifth pick and upcoming free agency and the salary cap and all those things. So they have to get their ducks in a row pretty quickly here. And then, Hacker, you pointed it out. I mean, we're 20-something days away from the start of the new league year.
17.
Yeah, 17 days. So, I mean, we are getting very close to the legal tampering window where you can start talking contract dollars with free agents. And, and I think Pete Prisco was right. I mean, I think guard, safety, corner, those are issues that they need to try and upgrade in free agency.
Well, you want to talk about a crash course on the roster. That is what James Gladstone is going to do this weekend. Now that he's been the GM for about an hour, he better be looking at it right now, because what a 24-hour period that's going to be. Meeting with the local media on Monday at the Miller Electric Center, meeting with the Combine and the national media, some local media on Tuesday in a 24-hour window. And you're right, he's going to be thrown just this question and that question and this question, and the guy will have the job for less than 72 hours. I mean, you've covered the Combine for a long time. I have as well. I can't remember a situation where a GM shows up to the Combine that's been on the job for 4 days.
I can't ever think
that is wild.
It is wild.
So we'll
almost to the point, like the Saints aren't even having their people talk,
right?
Which I thought, and you don't have to. It's not like a league rule. It's encouraged. But you don't have to talk at the Combine. So I thought that was interesting because obviously the Saints just hired Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Their GM stayed in place, Mickey Loomis, but they're not talking. So it does. I give the Jaguars credit because they want to introduce Gladstone to the local media first, which makes all the sense in the world on Monday because not everybody is going to travel to the Combine. And then obviously he's going to do it at the Combine as well. So we should get a lot of answers, and I'm very excited to see kind of who knows what cards he'll reveal to us, but it's exciting to see where they're headed because I don't look at it as this, well, it really doesn't matter what they're going to do because they have no chance to be good next year. I think they have a chance to be good next year, particularly if they have a strong offseason.
Well, it's like you said, too. I mean, this Christian Kirk decision, this Evan Ingram decision, the 12 unrestricted free agents that are going to hit the free agent market, this is not a month or two away. This is 2.5 weeks away. In fact, when he talks on Monday, the legal tampering period is 2 weeks from then. It's March 10th, and pen can meet paper on March the 12th. So not a lot of time for James Gladstone to get up to date. But again, I would think the first order of business after the Combine is the Christian Kirk question. I mean, that's $11 million roughly right there. You either get $11 million if you release Kirk, or you keep Kirk and you have to eat that $11 million. So you're going to figure that out, I would say, in the next 7 to 10 days.
Absolutely. It's going to be fast and furious, and we can't wait to cover it and document it and tell you what we think about everything. When we come back, one more segment to go here on the Frangie Show. We will continue talking Jaguars football. We might throw in a quick thought about Florida basketball, but obviously this day belongs to the Jaguars and the hiring of James Gladstone as GM.
I'm also looking forward to doing the 2-minute drill with you.
Yeah, how about that?
Hacker After Dark begins at 6 o'clock.
The real show starts at 6 o'clock. So, yes, we will do that as well. We appreciate you guys listening to The Frangie Show. We will be right back on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold & Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, the betting favorite to win the American League MVP as Major League Baseball gets its spring training games underway in both Florida and Arizona. Judge is plus 300 to win the honor. Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals, plus 450. Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles and Yordan Alvarez of the Houston Astros are both at plus 750. In the National League, Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Dodgers, plus 175 to win the MVP. Juan Soto of the New York Mets, plus 550. Fernando Tatis Jr. of the San Diego Padres plus 900. Mookie Betts of the Dodgers is at plus 1,200 to win the MVP. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010 XL.
Hon, who'd you call to fix our plumbing issue?
I forget their name. They said they do plumbing work.
Then what's that big thing they're driving?
Looks like a grease truck.
Grease truck?
Ugh, to pump the grease traps.
You wouldn't call a landscaper to floor your home, so why call a grease trap company for a plumbing issue? Duck Rooter is your certified plumbing contractor, specializing in all things plumbing. Get Jacksonville's real plumbing pros. Visit duckrooter.com, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, John, have you heard about the incredible offers at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got rates as low as 3.9% for 36 and 48 months on the stunning 2024 Escalade.
That's right. Experience luxury like never before. Whether it's the exquisite interior or the advanced technology, every drive feels like a royal experience.
Visit Randy Marion Cadillac today on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
And don't forget, Randy Marion is the king of price. Drive and indulge in luxury at Randy Marion Cadillac.
Plus tax tag title 999 admin fee with Resistol and approved credit.
When it's time for new tires, you can count on Big Chief Tire for quality and value. Frank Frangie here. Their expert team will help you quickly find the right fit, ensuring a safe, comfortable ride. With quality options, fair prices, and quick installation, you'll be back on the road in no time. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today to schedule your appointment and roll into 2025 with great confidence. Big Chief Tire keeps Jack rolling.
Pickett here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL celebrates African Americans who positively impacted the First Coast. I'm RJ Saunders, and I'll share Black History Month stories with you throughout February. Black History Month on 1010XL is brought to you by Instant Keys and McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
It's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Well, check out i9sports.com. With spring and summer registration open right now, including all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 for a discount.
Catch Gators baseball all season long on 1010XL. Pitched by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators.
Joe C for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor, lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjacks.com.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company is Fleming Island's first and only craft brewery, founded by the co-founder and brewmaster of Wicked Barley. Barley and Pie serves up local brews made right in your backyard. Hungry? Dive into their sourdough Neapolitan pizza, made fresh in-house every day. Find your new go-to spot in Fleming Island at Barley and Pie Brewing Company.
Denny Thompson here. You've got to check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is JJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, what a fun Frangie show today as we had breaking news right before or right after we came on air. James Gladstone, the new Jaguars general manager. In case you missed it, he comes from the LA Rams, 34 years old, but very highly regarded. So we certainly have talked all about that. The biggest early obstacles, decisions that Gladstone and Liam Cohen will have to make as they get ready to meet local media Monday and then obviously meet national media in conjunction with local media in Indianapolis on Tuesday at the Combine. We talked to Pete Prisco. He likes the James Gladstone hire. He thinks the Jaguars should go guard, corner, safety, and free agency, and thinks Mason Graham has a great chance to be the 5th pick. So we have gotten to a lot of great stuff today in regards to James Gladstone. Hacker, just give us a final thought on that before we touch on the Rumble last night and peek ahead at Florida basketball tomorrow.
I think if you're a Jaguar fan, I think mostly, if we the ones that I've interacted with, text, email, and then certainly on social media, I think most people are very, very, very happy because, again, whether it works or not this season, we'll figure that out 6, 7, 8 months from now. But it's drastically different. What Shad Khan has done in the last 30 days with Liam Cohen and Tony Baselli and now James Gladstone and everything that's transpired with the staff is an absolute 180 from what they were doing in the last 13 years. And Hays, probably a 180 from what the original plan was 42 days ago. All right. So from that standpoint, anything different is good when you're 64 and 148 in the last 13 years. It's different. Embrace it because it couldn't have been much worse in the status quo. So I think you should be happy if you're a Jaguar fan.
Yeah, I'm really excited to cover it, and I'm excited to get to learn about where offense is going, but football in general, because it does feel like, because I think Campanile kind of plays into this too on the defensive side. Like, it's going to be fun, like going to press conferences and learning about their philosophies and how they see the game. And, that's part of what makes this job fun is we are fans who just chose to do this for a living because we love the sport, but we don't know the ins and outs of it like coaches and executives, and we just don't. So it's really cool and illuminating when coaches open up about their philosophies, and obviously you're going to see that, particularly with Liam, when he's going to be talking as often as he is.
Well, and one of the things, and again, they're not required to do this. There are some GMs that talk more than others around the league. Trent Baalke never talked, right? He just
not on the record.
Never talked, right? Yeah. I mean, he talked when he was required to around draft time and free agency, and a month after the season, he would have a 15-minute presser. I do hope James Gladstone, even though he's young, I hope Baselli is a guiding influence here. I hope we hear from this general manager considerably more than we heard from the previous general manager. I certainly hope that's the case.
Yeah, I do as well. Let's quickly get it to college basketball. Obviously, this has been all Jaguars today, as it should be, but UNF gets a huge win last night. They sweep JU in the Rumble, 77-73. UNF hits 15 threes to just 3 for JU. The Dolphins now 10-6 in ASUN play. They're tied for 5th. They've lost 3 straight. UNF improved to 8-8. They're tied for 7th. What were your thoughts about that game?
Oh, it's bragging rights in my household, man. My wife's a JU alum. I'm a UNF alum. I was talking smack to Heidi last night. That's a sweep for the Ospreys. This is our city, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah.
No, I mean, a great game. Great game. JU played very well, took the lead there in the second half. UNF came back. Boy, UNF can shoot that three ball, can't they? UNF can shoot that three ball. It was a big win for the Ospreys for conference tournament seeding as well. So a fun night all around. Looked like a great atmosphere out there at the UNF arena.
Yeah, it was. We had a lot of fun. Frank and I were out there watching it. Lauren was out there with her husband Brian. So yeah, it was a great game to be a part of. Let's get into the Gators really quickly. Second in the nation. They're going to LSU. LSU 14-12 overall, 3-10 in league play. Any concern about the Gators going into Baton Rouge, or do you think they're able to get it done and get that win streak to 6 games?
No, I fully expect either tomorrow or the following road game Tuesday against Georgia will be one of those clunker games. Fully expect in one of these two road games, shots aren't going to fall, the whistle's not going to go your way, there'll be some adversity, and how does Florida handle that? It's been sunshine and rainbows for the last couple of games. The Auburn game, adversity against Mississippi State because of the Condon injury, but they played really well after that. And then they just beat the doors off of South Carolina and Oklahoma. It's not going to be that easy in these next couple of games. You're not playing as good a competition as you, but Florida's due for a clunker, kind of like the South Carolina road game. And can they find a way, if things aren't going their way, to have one more point at the end of the game?
Yeah, interesting thought. I'll say Florida wins, and I think it'll be fairly comfortable. I just don't think LSU matches up great with them. But your point's a good one. Human nature kicks in. These are college kids. All they're hearing is how great they are. So they'll have to have some good mental discipline with that. And we will now do this.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Service by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Hacker, it's good to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you, man. How are you?
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm good. I haven't talked to you in a while.
I know. Big day.
It is. I'm really excited. I haven't gotten a chance to really talk about James Gladstone yet, so for the next 2 hours. No, I love it. I absolutely love it. And we're going to do something that we don't always do, but on a night like tonight, I think it merits it. We're going to open up the phone lines.
Awesome.
I want to hear from Jaguar fans early on in Hacker After Dark. We're in for Baloo beginning here in about 10 minutes or so. 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So we're going to open up the phone lines at 641-1010. And I want to hear from you, Jaguar fans. James Gladstone, your new GM. Liam Cohen, your new head coach. Obviously, Baselli and the coordinators and everything that's happened in the last 6 weeks. A different era of Jaguar football is here. And based on the vibe I'm getting, I think a lot of people are awfully excited about it.
Absolutely. I can't wait to listen. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited about this. So you're going to be joining the Frangie Show whenever Frank or I are not here. So we couldn't be more excited to have you. And certainly it was a lot of fun today.
Really appreciate the opportunity. Safe travels to Indianapolis.
All right. Thank you so much. So that's going to do it for us. Again, for the vacationing Frank Frangie, for JJ LaSelva, for Hacker, I am Hays Carlyon. Have a wonderful weekend. Hacker After Dark is up next. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.